Hi guys, Terry here with Truth in Numbers. Wanting to come on and talk a little bit about grief today. Before we get started, I'm going to take a couple breaths. Please join me if you feel like it. A little yawn. Whew, excuse me. This is a safe place to just take a break from the din and quiet down and take in some good stuff. Hopefully this might have some meaning for you or hit you in a certain way that might be helpful. It was day 6 of the new administration, and I was feeling a lot of grief. I was feeling really sad, and it was a lot. It was kind of like I knew I needed to get it outside of myself, yeah. And so I'm like, ooh, I think I'm gonna get some ribbon. I had some twine. I was gonna do a little something creative. Now, I'm gonna be vulnerable with you all because I have some strains of creativity, but I know what good art is, and this is not that. So it is what it is because it's something that helped me. So I'm just gonna kind of share my process with you, and the reality is that, you know, if you want to call it art therapy or crafts or creativity, you know, in my mind, it doesn't have to be great. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be useful, or we can try it on and see if it's useful. And if not, no worries. So low bar, taking all this route easy, you know, no big deals here. And so I'm going to show this to you. And again, feeling vulnerable, but going to show it to you because it was a thing for me. So this is just braided ribbon, twine, and there's a red embroidery floss in there. And it's nothing special to look at, but there is meaning in this. So FYI, okay, so there's this light green, and the light green stands for life or for redemption. I am a big redemption fan. I say fan, I shouldn't say it so lightly. I truly believe to the depth of my being in a redemptive God and his work of redemption in our lives here in this world and in the next, and in lots of different ways, not just as individuals, but in larger scope as well. So I wanted to have that in this braid. I have an olive green, it's not sisal. What is it? I wrote it down. Let me find it. It is olive green twine. The twine is rough. We're kind of in coarse times. It's still green, but a coarse green, kind of signifying just rough times. The brown small ribbon, it's like an eighth inch wide ribbon, is for the heaviness of the season, the heaviness that I was feeling when I decided to braid something. And then the red embroidery floss, guys, the thing that was gutting me at the time is the executive order that rescinded the reunification of the children separated from their parents at the border. And there were 1,000 children still left to be reunited with their parents. I want to riff a little bit, but I you know what, I'm editing myself here online. I don't want to over spiritualize this, but I don't know. I wouldn't mess with children. I will say this: you're kind of messing with God's heart when you do that, and he's a lot bigger than us. Let's just put it that way. So I'll leave it at that. But I wanted to share, in addition to what this is made of, I wanted to share a little bit about some revelations after, you know, in the process of making this, what I came across. So this actually was a process over a couple of days. And what started it, I just started taking pictures, you know, screenshots on my phone of posts on social media or maybe an article, and when I started to put the ribbon together and the twine and all this, the materials together, I went back and looked at them because I want somehow to put some tags onto this, hanging from this, so that when I look at this, I can go back and go, okay, this was day 6, and these were the things I was upset about. And when I went back and looked at all the screenshots that I had taken, out of the 5 or 6 screenshots that I took, 1 or 2 were actually things. The rest were like, well, if he does this, then this could happen. And I like to think, let's put it this way, I like to think that I'm a savvy news consumer, in that I can weed out what's reporting from opinion. I can, get a feel for manipulation and disinformation. I like to think that when I read something, I know whether it's a fact or if it's a speculation. And I was feeling the grief so much that I was picking up like 3 to 4 different, news items that really weren't news items. They were speculations. And I was internalizing that, and that is a waste of energy. So I left the amount of ribbon and twine in here to braid, and the tags that I'll hang from this will be limited to those 1 or 2 things that were really real, or actualized. So the whole process, even though it's a little flawed, was very worthwhile. And the red in here, guys, symbolizes those 1,000 children, the rescinding of the executive order for these 1,000 children to be reunited with their families. I am still shocked by the fact that there were no records. There were many of these children had no records of who their parents were, so they could be reunited. And I'm not a historian, but it feels very Stalin-esque, and egregious and beyond the pale. And again, I wouldn't mess with children, because you're messing with God's heart. I said it again. I may redo this because I really don't want to over spiritualize something, but this is a thing. The children thing is a thing. And God's heart is real in my mind, from my faith. So from my faith perspective, I guess I'll say. What else do I want to mention now that I've kind of gone on a tangent? Let me bring myself back, guys. Oh, there's a physical aspect to this. So I was writing down, there was some processing. I was actually using my hands to do the braiding, and that really kind of helped me process it, and it kind of it allowed my body to kind of work it out. As limited as this little strand of braid was, it didn't have to be this huge piece, this huge undertaking. This foot of braid made a difference physically for me. It, now I have to try to read my writing, so bear with me here. It gave a place for my grief outside of my body. So there's a memorial here. There's something outside of my body that I can go to and remember why I was so sad. Pardon me, why I was so sad that day. It's like putting a to-do list on a sheet. And I don't want to minimize grief by any stretch of the imagination, but there's a lot to be said about getting it outside of myself and someplace physical, so that I don't, lose track of it, so that I can remember what happened and remember what the loss, because I think that's significant and important. But it's also outside of my body, so I'm more freed up. I'm more freed up for productivity, for love, for connection, etc. And I don't have to worry about forgetting, because to me this is important. The children are important, but also the change and the impact of darkness, here is important to remember. So just wanted to share. It was impactful, and surprisingly helpful. I don't do this very often, and I found this to be really a way to get the grief outside of me, so I could continue to kind of walk on, so to speak, and yet still be tied to it in some way, right? I can still see this, and it's still real, and it's still there, and very helpful. So take it for what it's worth. If helpful, great. Do something along these lines, whatever works for you. If not helpful, then no worries at all. Take what you like, leave the rest. So in closing, what do I want to say? Grief is real. These are tough times. We'll get through this together, and we'll figure it out together too. So let's not try to wear ourselves out, and apply all that self-care stuff, and love on someone today. Yeah. So that's all for right now. I am looking forward to whatever comes down the pike to share next time. You guys are precious out there, and highly valued. So be well, and we'll see you soon. Take care now.